And thanks for joining us for the Sunday News at 10. I'm Doug Petcash. The summer of 2022 was one of the hottest on record in Idaho, with nearly 30 days at 100 degrees or more. So what impact is this kind of weather having? We have team coverage tonight. Meteorologist Bree Eggers looks into whether or not this scorching summer means we're going to have a wild winter. But first, Abby Davis talked to two Treasure Valley farmers about the effect the extreme summer heat and the late spring rain had on this year's harvest. Abby?
Well, Doug, the Idaho State Department of Agriculture says Idaho is home to nearly 25,000 farms and ranches and is the third largest agricultural state in the West. But the size and bounty of the crops farmers in Idaho can grow all depends on the weather. Both farmers I talked to say a late harvest season is less than ideal, but they're staying positive. Farmers know you can't compete with Mother Nature.
You deal with what Mother Nature throws at you.
But Galen Lee and Matt Dorsey, both local farmers in the Treasure Valley, say this year's weather posed some unique challenges to the harvest season.
It delayed harvest for, 10 days to 2 weeks in a lot of cases from what we normally would be on the calendar.
You'll see probably a third yield loss across the board on most crops.
KTVB meteorologist Bree Eggers says the new year was drier than typical.
At the beginning of the year, in January, December, the winter had slowed down so much we weren't getting the precipitation. So I think that's when we started to really worry about water.
Some guys were planting different crops because of the lack of water.
And then the spring arrived and we got all of that cool, wet spring weather that we really needed through January and February. So spring kind of lingered through the month of June.
We started off really wet and cold, so the crops didn't want to start to grow, didn't want to come up.
And then summer hit.
The summer was scorching. It ended up as our second hottest on record for Boise, and we ended up with the most triple-digit days on record, 27 days of 100 degrees or hotter.
When it got so hot, they didn't want to grow either. They just kind of wanted to, stop and shut down.
We had some later maturity on a lot of the crops this year. Onions were later to be harvested. Grain was later to be harvested. The beans were later. My corn silage was later.
Bad weather also means less money. Dorsey says most years they hope for a 10% return on whatever they spend to raise their crops. But this year, it's a different story.
I mean, it costs the same to raise the crop. So it's, that comes right off the top, the loss.
The bottom line is going to be pretty tight this year. It'll be break even probably at best on most of the stuff I'm doing.
But Lee says staying positive is just part of the job.
We're farming out here. We're working with Mother Nature, and whatever she throws at us, we take it and we work with it and we deal with it and move on.
Farmers aren't just losing money because of the bad weather. Lee says they're also having to pay more for supplies like fuel and fertilizer. So combine all of that and these farmers are facing some significant challenges.